One.
And hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I am joined today by my good friend, Geoff Blanchard. Geoff, how are you?
Good, thank you, Rick. And has there been a lot happening in the tech world for you this week?
A couple things. Well, we'll get into that in a moment. And joining us also on the mixer and co-hosting along with us is Harold Muliani. Here we go. This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com, your training and video partner.
And we're back.
We are back, and you asked right before, what's been happening in the tech world? I don't know, not too much, though I'll tell you one thing, we're returning the 90D tomorrow.
Oh, gee, that love affair didn't last very long.
It was brief. It was very brief, but I like the camera. You know, it's not like I hate it or anything. I like it, but after having the Panasonics and other mirrorless cameras that have good EVFs and everything, I don't know. I found the 90D focus to be on the slower side. I'm so used to fast focus that it just seemed to be not taking a lot. And then it takes some getting used to of going back to the optical where you can't see what you're doing. And both systems are different when you have the optical focus and the live view focus. They are totally different. And so you don't always get the results you expect if you're not used to going back to the optical. Because I was setting things via the live view and then going into the optical to take shots because it looks really nice in the optical. But what looks like a really well formatted and exposed shot on the live view, you go into optical and you take some shots and then you look back and they're either too dark or too bright and you just go, oh darn. So you really have to get that handle of how to set it. And that was one thing. I did find the dual pixel autofocus good. I find it a little inconsistent. It's not always what you expect in terms of focus. It almost hunts a little bit every so often, not much. But we did catch it a couple of times. We're going, that's interesting. And ultimately, when I grab my Panasonic G9 or my GH5 or the GH5S, I like them better. It feels better in my hand. The controls feel crisper, better. It focuses in. And so, you know what? That wasn't it for me. I think I almost like the Sonys better, the way they focus and feel. I like Canon's feel, but it just doesn't feel like it used to.
But I think you find, though, as well, we adapt. Like when we all had the 60D, that's all that was out then. And we accepted, and even before digital cameras, we took good pictures and that was okay. And same thing with that. We understood the settings a bit better, and then we looked there and took the pictures. We knew the viewfinder was just to get it into frame. That was all it was for, not to see whether it was too bad. Did a bit on the focus. Then when we went with the electronic viewfinders in the GH5, you relax a little bit because you know, oh God, that looks too dark.
Yep.
You know you don't have to be as accurate because you can see it there in the viewfinder. But once you've gone that far, gone to the next stage, like you said, I think it's very hard to go back. Whereas somebody who's got a 60, 70, 80 and not gone into the I think they would find the 90D perfect.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So for me, it was just a feeling of deja vu that I didn't really want to do again. At first, I liked it because I felt comfortable back in my old Canon days. It felt comfy and it felt good, but it wasn't giving me the results I wanted, especially outdoors in bright sunlight. Even with an ND filter, I was struggling between the optical and the live view. It wasn't. There were some issues, and it might have been me, but it wasn't as comfy. I go into a G9, and it's like perfect. It's like I have no problems with it. They look like I want for the most part. Now, Harold, you shot a little bit with the 90D. What did you think?
I mean, that's the thing. I thought it was good. Focus was pretty good. It has the digital stabilization, but it worked pretty well. Ultimately, I feel like the cameras we already have here are kind of better at doing a lot of this stuff. The video, especially like with the when we had William on, he was pointing out something about the 4K video on the 90D. He was saying that it's not true 4K. He was saying that the way they do it, they actually crop to like 3K and then they upsample it to 4K, which he thought was a really weird way of doing it, and it's not quite true 4K, which, yeah, I mean, it looked good to us. I couldn't tell, but it is kind of weird, and when we've got cameras already that do the true 4K and do it well.
Or do 5 or 6K and sample down.
Yeah, they're doing that actually, but it's kind of weird to do it the way the 90D does. So.
I mean, the camera felt nice. It feels good in the hand like any Canon. And it wasn't that heavy either. It was about the same weight as the GH5 with a mid-sized lens. But I did some experiments of putting the Metabones adapter on the G9 and the GH5, and you get the same quality pictures with the Metabones because it gives you another stop of light, and the lenses are much faster on Panasonic on the whole, and let's not even talk about the Sony lenses, which are also very fast. And so you're getting slower lenses on the Canon side with slower focus. They're not bad, but they're a little bit slower and they're noisier. So all in all, I like the camera, but I didn't like it enough to have to spend $1,200 or $1,350 or whatever with the grip. And I need to buy some more storage for the new iMac that's coming in on Monday, because it comes with no storage basically. And I went, shoot, that's $1,200. Well, I don't need the camera that badly. I have enough cameras. And so we decided I'll send that back and I'll get the storage I need. And because I wasn't that enthralled, after about the first couple of weeks, I think I moved on.
Now, so Rick, you just mentioned about your new iMac there. So has that arrived yet? Or?
It is in country. It flew from Shanghai to Oakland this morning. So it got to Oakland this morning. Now it's going to come down towards probably LA and then up to Camarillo from there on Monday.
And now I hope you said I hope you didn't buy the memory from Apple, did you? Did you buy
I did, and I know why. We had a lease. Apple doesn't sell any other memory. And to put everything on the lease, it was easier just to buy their memory. It was about $500 more. And we figured, fine, it goes on the lease. You don't even know. It's a 3-year lease, so we won't even notice it.
That's actually come down quite a bit because it used to be an extra $2,500, not $500. So that's not too bad. We did 64 gigs of memory. And the whole iMac with the 64 cost about $5,000. Well, that's not too bad.
That's with the updated AMD card, which is the 48, AMD 48 or whatever it's called. That's the updated one, and I think and a 2 terabyte internal storage, the main drive, SSD, because I didn't want the Fusion. And the thing is, they don't give you any. There's only one slot on that computer for storage, one. So I'm getting one of the OWC, and this is really cool. It's about 4 inches by 5 inches and maybe 2 inches high. And it is a mini RAID. You put in the M.2 SSD cards, which are really fast. They're small, they're fast. You just put 4 in, and now you have a mini RAID with 8 terabytes.
Yeah, I think you said they were NVMe, right?
NVMe. And so you get the really fast drives on those. And so that was about $1,300 for that. So that evens out with the camera. And that gives me at least a small RAID that I can put for videos. I mean, I don't think I've ever filled up my Drobo with more than like 2 terabytes. So I think I'm good with that. But my Drobo's too old. It doesn't have Thunderbolt 3, and the connector doesn't go from Thunderbolt 1 to 3 that works. So I decided to go with I was going to get a new Drobo, but that would have cost twice as much with SSDs, and I figured, let me just get the small little one, which is also portable. I could take it anywhere.
Yes, no, I have the old Drobo with on
so
this,
do I.
This one. It's got the USB-C on this one, but it did work. I just got the adapter, and
that did work for you?
Yes, I only have to have one adapter because then I'd put the monitor through the Drobo to do the other Thunderbolt cable, and pass it through that, so it works through that. So
That's good.
But you've just got the thing is you've got to watch with the Macs, with the USB-C cable that goes to the Thunderbolt cable. Sometimes you get that adapter, but it's not that. It's the different adapter. It's the same connection, but it's not the right one, and it doesn't work.
It's wired differently. I think it's wired differently.
The monitor cable, it's the monitor adapter, which has got the same connection as the Thunderbolt, the old Thunderbolt to the USB-C, but it's different.
Yeah,
one costs you about $39 and one's $79, so that you need the Era one.
Oh, and I did get that Apple. Well, it's not the Apple. I got the LG Ultrafine 5K monitor. That is the one that was made for Apple for the iMacs and iMac and the MacBook Pros, but it works with all the Apples. But it only works with an Apple because you can put it on Windows, but you can't control it. There are no buttons, no menus, nothing. It's all controlled by the Mac OS. So if you put it on Windows, it's it. You get whatever they give you. It's like a medium brightness, so it doesn't look as good as normal. But that's a 500 nit display. It's exactly like the iMac display, maybe a tad different, but it's really small. And so you get the sharpness of the iMac display now with the equal brightness, so you don't have to put a lesser monitor on it. They look the same. You're not changing your eyesight.
So will that work on my machine? Would that still work on? It doesn't need extra power or something to drive it?
I think it said you need an iMac from 2016 and up. I think.
Okay,
it was.
So mine should still be okay. Mine was 27. I think Christmas 2017. I think
then you should work okay. I checked, but I think it would work okay. And that monitor was $12.99, which isn't too bad for a 5K monitor with that kind of brightness. That's good. Yeah, and it's got 236 pixels per inch, which is much more than any normal Windows kind of monitor. Even the high-end Windows monitors are only like 136. So I don't know.
I'll have to investigate that because that's one thing I think I could invest in. Here, I've got on the Mac here and I'm looking at it now. I've just got a cheap Acer 23, and actually it's such a good quality. I've been reluctant to replace it and do anything better because I thought it's a cheap monitor.
Yeah,
to such a damn good job. I'm just so pleased with it. But that was.
And when Rick, when you ordered the iMac, we found out about that national holiday thing.
Yes. By the way, if anybody's ordering any iMac, I think the first week of October or end of September, China is on a 1-week vacation celebrating Mao's something or other.
Yeah.
And what happens then is they close down for 7 days, but they make everybody work 2 days before and 2 days after on weekends. So you really don't get more than 1 day off. I love it. Shut up, slave. You work these days.
Now I know. I had somebody that I worked with who was over there, and there was an email saying about the 1-day tour or something, but it must have been about that holiday or something.
Could be.
Probably, yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, and we didn't know about that. And so if we had bought that Mac a day or two before or a day after, we would have gotten it much later, but they started building it the day they got back to work, which is Tuesday, and it shipped yesterday, Thursday. It arrived in Oakland today, and we get delivery on Monday. So that's faster than what they said, because they said the 17th through the 21st, and it's coming in, I think, on the 14th. I think it's 14th. So that's not too bad.
No, well, so I'm sure you'll be happy, but I'm really interested. Even you've got the LG, haven't you, at the moment? So.
I do. I came in, and I did test it against the Alienware laptop we have, and it turned it on. We couldn't do anything with it in terms of, I mean, it looked good. It just wasn't that bright, and it wasn't, you couldn't do anything else. You can't change contrast, brightness, colors, nothing. That's all handled by the OS, by the Mac OS. Now, did you notice that you can get this if you haven't already? Catalina just came out.
Oh, did it? Did it? I
It
didn't.
came up. We just upgraded my iMac. My old iMac upgraded to it yesterday or the day before. I think it was Tuesday. So it's out. It should be out where you are too. And they have a new thing there called Sidecar. Have you guys heard about that?
No.
So I was
I've heard the
wondering,
word sidecar in other software. I don't know
Yep.
if there's.
but I didn't know what it was at first. So Sidecar, if you have a Mac, an iPad Pro, or I think a regular iPad, they mentioned the Pro, but I think it works with the other ones. Now you could set up as a wireless second monitor for your iMac.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So if you have a 13-inch iPad Pro or smaller, you could put it up on a stand, and then you use Sidecar to connect it, and it's wirelessly, and now that is a second monitor, and you can still switch between apps on your iPad, so you don't have to worry about that. It still works as a functional iPad, but now you also have the ability to be a second monitor, which is kind of cool. It extends your Mac out to an iPad.
I wonder how the latency is on that.
They said it's instant.
Wow.
The demos I saw were instant.
So that the sidecar would that because it used to be called Duo, didn't it? Where you could get the separate, you could get an app to do it, but now it's built.
Now it's called Sidecar. And before, you're right, I think it was called Duo. I don't know. Was Duo by Apple?
Yes, I think it was. It was an Apple app. But I tell you, if people before they do go to Catalina, is before you do that, go up to your Mac into the about this Mac and check your software. And when you do all the software, it'll show you on the right-hand side of that it says whether it's a 32-bit or a 64-bit. Is it 64-bit compatible? Because anything that says 32 won't work.
Oh, well, it worked on mine, so I must have had, you and I, on our old ones, must have been 64.
Well, no, our machines are 64, but even on mine now, there's applications on there that won't work on Catalina because it will say...
Oh, no, but Catalina will work, but those applications won't get converted.
That's right. But check your old ones before you do, because there's most of the ones like the Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, all those are good. They've all been updated. But if you've got these little fringe ones, I like this little plug-in that does this or does that, make sure it's a 64-bit because it won't. But Apple's been very good. If you switch your Mac on, when you start, every now and then it'll go through. Do you realize this one is not compatible?
Yeah,
needs to be upgraded. They keep saying it, but people just go, "Oh, what does that mean?"
Right.
But and also as well, I think you've just got to watch if you're doing your Final Cut, if you've got loads of old thing, it won't recognize some of the old footage.
Really, footage?
You can convert it, but it's got rid of some of the old way it recorded. Some of the
interesting.
Way it recorded the video. So most of the ones we've always done, but sometimes people did it in really strange formats, like the early Canons, the way they used to record the footage.
God, yeah.
But still edit it in Final Cut, but then that won't work anymore. But you can convert.
Those are codec issues, yeah.
But as I said, they've got rid of, tightened it up a bit, but they've been threatening it for 10 years.
Have they really?
Saying, but now this is the first one where they said, right, we're cutting the cable, we're cutting the cord, we're going to just the 64. So,
and they have a new thing too called Catalyst. Catalyst is their new. It's an app that allows you to run iOS apps on your iMac.
Oh.
They said it doesn't work for all apps, but it works for a large number of them. And so if you have any apps you like on your iPad, you can now put them on your iOS, on your Mac OS if it's not there, and it runs.
Funny thing was, all the time we've had Macs, we've had the Fusion and the on to do the Windows, and I got all that, and I never actually switched it on, and I still found if I wanted Windows, I have a separate Windows laptop or something, and that still is the best way. But as I said, I've never, and then I don't think I've
Parallels works pretty well.
Parallels,
it's not bad.
The only thing I found with all these emulators, they worked excellent, but the things that never seemed to work good with them was the accessories. So if you wanted to print something, if you wanted to, it never seemed to do that seamless. But you could work all the applications and work fine, but it never seemed to do right. Like if you stuck a memory stick in, did it recognize that properly? It never seemed to. I don't know whether it was just me and then I got fed up with doing it, so I just stuck with the with the Mac, and I thought, well, that's what I've come. And now you're looking at the Windows 10, and it just amazes me when working with it at work all the time, how much more it's getting like the Mac.
It is in some ways, except Windows is still pretty screwed up, and they do things like, I'll give you one example that kills Harold and me every day. Every time you attach a new device or something that has audio built into it, like a monitor, it makes that the default monitor now, the default audio. It's like, no, why? Why do you do this? You're killing us.
If it has the capability to be a speaker, it becomes the default playback device. And if it has the capability to record audio, it becomes the default recording device.
And they screw up everything, because usually you could put in like a USB reader, and it goes, you must be a new reader. Do you have audio? Sure. Let's make you the default device. Wait a minute.
Occasionally, it will stop recognizing one of the monitors, reinstall it, and then it again just does the same thing.
Right.
Becomes the speaker
It's so
again.
stupid. And I don't know. Microsoft keeps doing the same mistakes over and over and over again. I don't get it. But so it sounds like there's a lot of nice new features. Catalina they said it's improved speed by about 10% or more. That's good. And so I haven't gotten it. I haven't seen it yet. Well, I did download it on my old one. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't looked at it. After the show, I'll probably take a look today. But
that's a good thing. Now I have my working machine and the other one upstairs. I can easily upgrade that one, and then I've still got my working machine. And if that blows up or doesn't do anything right, just don't up. Is that an official release, Rick, or is it still in beta? Or
no, it's official. It just came out of beta. It went official.
Oh, that's okay, because I'll do that on the other machine, because it's always good when you've got another machine. And also, as a reminder to people, never ever upgrade your operating system when you're in the middle of something. If
True.
You've got programs, make sure if it's stuff, just expect the machine not to work for a week, and if you can handle that, upgrade it.
Now, Jeff's more conservative that way. I say, live life on the edge.
But the thing is, like the number one thing everybody tells you when you do your iPhone or anything, when you update, back it up. And I had somebody say, "Oh, what's back it?" I said, "You should always." Oh, is it going to? Well, no, but
it could.
It's just that 1 in 10 chance that it could. They said, "But have you got anything on you care about?" No, well, don't bother then. This is said, but if you've got precious photos or things like that, well, I always do. I back up the things like that, and I said, well, I don't care about applications. I just have to reload them.
Right. Well, doesn't it Apple also, just like Android, doesn't it just load it or sync every night with and just back those things up anyway? If you turn it on,
like I've got mine here, it backs up every, with Time Machine, it's backing up, and that's such a godsend when something goes wrong, because you can just reformat, put it back. Hey, it might take a while to do it, but it comes back, and plus you can delete things on Time Machine, and then you say, oh goodness, I did that. And they can check back 6 months ago. Oh, there it is, and just drag it to the future. You don't have to restore things. I know I had it, and I must have deleted it. But but then it gets to that stage I find with video, when you've got the Drobo, which you've got 20 terabytes with tons of these video files. Well, how do you back that? You can't back that up, and it's just you've got to accept that you're going to lose something, but you do your best by replacing the drives and keeping it all healthy. But what do you do? And then you've just got to think, well, did I ever use that footage anyway, or what? Well, I've got my old Drobo drives that I've replaced that are still working. I've got them in the cupboard with all my video files backed up in there. And as I replace an old Drobo before it dies, I make that another backup and put that in and keep replacing them. So if all else goes, at least I've got something with my old footage in that. So
now, Harold's been playing with the Fujifilm XT-2.
Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't done a whole lot of stuff on it. I have this one video here that I can show. I had another one, but I didn't bring it here. But so, let me put it on.
Dr. Harold at work pre-surgery.
but yeah, I really like the camera. It's the differences in interface and menu take a bit to are taking a bit for me to get used to, but yeah, I mean I'm getting there. It does video a lot better than I realized.
It actually does good video, but it's not stabilized.
No. So,
is the lens stabilized?
That one, I think it is.
It is, okay.
Yeah, the lens I've been using with it is this the 16 to 55, which that's a nice lens. It does video well. It
looks large there, but it's actually a very small lens.
Yeah, it's tiny.
And it's very quiet.
Yeah.
It's amazing with the Fuji. At one stage, it was all the talk around the place, but now you never hear of it.
No, except for Ken. Ken Wheeler loves to talk about it.
That's right.
As I said, everybody was talking about it, and it was really good, and then all of a sudden it stopped.
Yeah. Part of the problem is Sony keeps leapfrogging over everybody, and so they get all the buzz because they've got stabilize this, stabilize that. They've got, really good focus, better than anybody. They beat everybody right now at focus.
I mean, one thing with the XT2 is it does need a lot of light to get a good shot.
Yeah.
And I guess, that's not always the easiest thing, but if you're shooting in the daytime and you've got light coming inside, or if you're just outside, that sort of thing, it comes up with some really great shots.
Yeah, it's a good camera.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a fan of it because I don't like that kind of rangefinder controls. I find them bothersome, and I find them hard to read actually.
The controls are a little weird.
They're a little wonky, but it does take beautiful pictures. I have to admit that. And it's a so now he's got his 5 DSR and an APS-C camera.
Yeah.
So. But the color isn't bad on Fuji. It's actually really quite pretty.
It does have good color, yeah.
Yeah, I always found that. I was looking at that. The picture, the color quality, I really like that.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
The next Canon one that I like, but it seemed to be a really nice. Like some of you can take pictures with different cameras, and some of the really expensive ones don't. It all depends on personal preference. Don't look as nice as some of the cheaper ones or
That's
some of the less popular ones. That's why they all have their place in there, because everybody sees things differently.
Well, it's funny. Canon is shooting itself in the foot almost every day with doing something stupid, and you just wonder when it's going to really hurt them, because they've already lost about 50% of the sales they had. They're still bigger than everybody else, but they keep losing market share because they either innovate too slowly, or was it Peter Gregg the other day said the 90D is the best 2 to 4 year old camera I've ever had.
Yeah.
And he's right, because everything they did in this one is still old. It's been there for 3-4 years in other cameras. So you just go, okay, it's a nice camera, but you didn't do anything new, and that's where they're getting dinged. What is it? What's his name? Casey Stern. He always says Canon hasn't developed anything new in 5 years, and as I've listened to him, and he's right. They really haven't. It's just all variations on a theme. They're reusing sensors. They have a couple of new sensors, but they're just variations on other ones, and they haven't done a lot new. They do more in the cinema line, but even then, they're just making small incremental updates to bring in features that everybody else has all the time. So you just kind of go, I don't understand the always working from behind. I guess it's easier. You don't have to think about a new feature. You just wait till somebody else comes out and then copy it. That makes sense.
5 years later.
Yeah.
But the thing, places like Sony was always top in in electronics and that, and they were always high end in the broadcast cameras and all that. But they never did. They were woeful in domestic.
Yes.
They didn't do much at all, and so everybody knew if it was a professional camera, you got the Sony broadcast camera, you got their cameras and all that. But now Sony has captured that market from Canon to be the consumer camera now, and with all the talk they said, it's people talking, like you hear so many people Sony, where it would only be your Nikon and Canon, or Nikon and Canon, that would be the only two. But now it's usually it's the Sony that's getting in there, and the slowly.
Well,
but
let's
surely.
see. Canon is Godzilla, and Nikon is probably, what is it, Mothra? I don't know. And Sony right now is Ghidra, the three-headed monster who kicks butt. So, and Panasonic is Rodan. They're fast. They fly around, but they haven't quite landed yet. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all winds up. But
was that the turtle who used to go around when he landed to help everybody? He just destroyed half the city.
That's right. Yeah, who was that turtle? I don't remember the turtle.
Because he had all the flames coming out, and he used to spin around, coming in to save the world, but he destroyed half the village.
It was something like Gamera or something, the name.
Gamera, something like that, right?
I don't know if that was it.
It
sounded like that, though.
That was actually funny.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten all about those ones until you mentioned that.
It's funny. And, I didn't know until recently that they had made, 20 Godzilla movies? I don't know. They keep making them.
They keep making. That's like now.
How many times can you destroy Tokyo?
But even now, the modern ones, the Godzilla one. I thought there's a Godzilla now, and there's another Godzilla, and I thought, so much, and there's not anything fantastic in technology that makes it look any different.
No, I do like Ghidra. Ghidra was funny because Ghidra was more kick butt than all of them. So all the monsters get that. I think it was called Against All Monsters or something like that. And so Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra get together to kick Ghidra off Earth. And it was just hilarious. They're all talking to monsters. We need your help. Be civic minded and help your planet. And so they all got together and said, "Okay, we'll help you." It was actually hilarious.
I've actually been watching on Netflix just while I have my tea each night. They've got all the South Park episodes on. And I was just watching the one where there was the Super Barbara, where Barbara Streisand turns into one of them. And she gets the magic key, and they're all got, each one is Leonard Maltin. He turns into one of the big, and they do all. Then there's a little Japanese man going, "Machato, machato," and they're singing all the songs and with on that. But they're all all the monsters come to try.
So does she sing, "I am a monster in love"?
But they will all come to kill a Mega Barbara.
Yeah, Mega Barbara. And now South Park, the poor Chinese don't have South Park anymore. He got banned. They got banned.
Well, now they're using South Park characters like the Hong Kong protesters. They're using them as
Yeah, and that's why they got banned. No more. And did you know Winnie the Pooh got banned in China?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, because they make fun of Chen Jinping or whatever his name is, because he sort of looks like Winnie the Pooh. So now he's killed a couple of people for doing that. Now he's banned it completely. Death penalty, anybody who plays that.
Yep. And apparently that's hitting Disney because now anything that of theirs that has Winnie the Pooh in it, they have to censor it and take him out so that they can sell it in China.
It's a tough world out there.
That's right. So
we must cater to all dictators and make them happy.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's the same in England. You can't have Noddy and big ears in England anymore.
Oh, no.
No.
What would Prince Charles say, right? Is that because of Prince Charles?
And it's a bit like, with all the tolerance in the world, now they don't like Bert and Ernie because they sleep together. You would think it would be better now, wouldn't it? In this world of tolerance, that would be ideal. But they didn't. But nobody ever thought about that back in the 70s when Bert and Ernie was in bed having a talk in the morning.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought about anything about that. So, the two fellas who slept together. That was it. We never ever thought about that.
You gotta love it. It's a crazy world. It's that time.
There's our surf music again.
We've actually been on longer than we thought. It's almost 3:30, but we started early.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Later here now because it's with daylight saving. So.
Oh, what time are you now? 9?
9:30. Nearly
9:30 now.
Oh.
Okay.
So when you go back to winter time, it'll be 10.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to call you tomorrow because we don't know if we're going to have power yet. We're not sure. We'll find out. If I'll try to give you a shot tomorrow, but no guarantee I can get over. Because last night I was sitting at home going, what do? I have no computer, no TV, no nothing. I just have my phone.
You don't have the luxury of going home and sticking a fork in the toaster for fun.
No, that's...
You realize what it's like, these climate change people here. They said, okay, we'll have a taste of what it's like. Let's turn the power off.
Yeah.
See how much they like that.
Yeah, that was fun, guys, huh? Yeah. Oh, man. So anyway, well, I'll let you know how the Mac episode goes next week. Maybe we'll film me opening it or something. It comes in a big box, so we'll see. But anyway, we'll have a good week. And if you're watching the show, thanks a lot for watching. And we look forward to seeing you next week. I don't know if we have a guest next week. Not sure.
I am not sure.
Not sure. We might have a guest next week, but if not, you have us. Don't off the channel with that. But anyway, we'll see you next week on Tech Down Over. See you later, Harold and Geoff. Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Kill anyone who looks like Winnie the Pooh.